Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hey, We're Talking. And, it's been an interesting week.
Yeah, it is.
Some little offbeat shows, but that's okay. We were talking about something in between, and we decided we were going to talk about it. Derek brought up house hunters, and specifically tiny house hunters.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let me just say, before you start going, let's get this out of the way. If anybody's ever watched House Hunters, or if you don't know what it is, House Hunters is this show where they take, usually it's couples, and I mean, it can be like, heterosexual or homosexual couples, or just people dating, or one person single. I mean, it's anybody is basically what I'm saying, looking for a house. And they look at 3 different houses on the show. And then at the end of the show, they choose which one they want. Now, here's the thing about the show that's somewhat irritating. If you've ever been a person that's looking for a house, all the people are there's always one super high maintenance person involved in the house hunting. They're looking for very specific things, and they get upset at stupid shit about a house. Like if they're like, the walls are blue, and you're like, dumbass, paint the walls. What are you, stupid? Right. So it's dumb stuff like that. But what they do is they really play it up for the show. I read an article one time where they talked to these people, and they're like, man, they made us look like idiots. Because they tell you, hey, name all the things you hate about this house. They make you tell all the things you think are stupid about the house.
Yeah. Selective editing.
Show. Yeah, it's for the show. So anyway, they choose a house. So the tiny house hunters, Derek, tell people what tiny house hunters is.
Okay. Well, let me first say hi to Bob. How you doing, Bob?
Hey, Bob.
Good. How are you guys? Hope you're.
I'm great.
I'm fantastic.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I could talk about the regular show House Hunters because my wife and I like to watch them because we love to just hate on these couples. I know it's not 100% real, but yeah,
but it is fun.
$800,000 budget, and they're like, I don't really like the lighting. And you're like, shut up.
Change the light bulbs, idiot.
You mentioned their budget, Derek, and one thing I said is like a lot of these couples that are doing it, they're like in their 20s and 30s, and it's like, how can you afford to look at 3 different houses that are between $700,000 and $950,000? What do you do?
Blows my mind. But on Tiny House Hunters, now that's the show where it's kind of encapsulating some of the tiny house movement. The people, they build houses that are like on trailers. They're usually less than 300 square feet. They're not as restricted by since they're not like a foundation house. There's no coding. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be up to code.
Right.
It's usually mobile. So you see a lot of young people get into a tiny house because they don't have to spend as much money on it. It's mobile. They get more freedom. They get to be more adventurous.
So essentially, they're just living in a camper.
And it has a lot to do with like it has something to do with the environment too. They always want to be kind to the environment, so they make a tiny house.
Sometimes, but for what I've seen on the show, a lot of it's just money. They're young and they want to get out of, they want to own something, but they don't have any money to afford like big house. So they're like, we got us a $30,000 budget and let's get something.
And they want to be able to park that house in their mom and dad's backyard and use their electricity.
Right.
Yeah. But but I saw one yesterday. I was watching it. You get these couples. They're like, we want to get a tiny house, and it's always young couples on these shows. It's never like a 40-something. It's never like a 40-somethings couple.
Millennials? Is this a millennial movement?
It feels like it. It feels like it's always, for the most part. I mean, there's always exceptions, but the majority, it's young 20-somethings.
Okay.
Doing this show, and
it's either that or like really artistic people, or divorcees. Let's be real. There are quite a few ladies who are like, well, my husband ran away with the secretary at the office, and I'm starting my whole life over. I never had a job in my entire life. I raised our kids, and I have this much money, and they want to start over. So I have seen those, but usually it is younger people. I had to bring the whole show down with the divorcee.
The girl, this couple, and the girl just had all these unrealistic demands You know, it's like, I want to live in a tiny house, but I want to have space to entertain, and I want a farmhouse sink, and she just had all these demands
that take up half the house.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this tiny budget, they want a tiny house, and she flipped out because their closet was like small. They're like, this is a deal breaker because I need. What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? And me and my wife were just like, oh, you stupid blankety blank. Just stop it.
You have a tiny house. What do you expect?
The thing that people never are ready for, I think, well, that's not true. Some of the people are, is the compost toilet. They're always just like, what? You mean I just shit in this thing and then you cover it up with some sawdust? Yep, that's what you do. Yep.
I think now they're making them so they're modern and fancy, and they completely conceal any kind of smell or disgustingness.
Are you sure?
But I would imagine so.
I don't know. Like there's a good chance right after you take the dump, it's not going to be great. I
don't believe in tiny house living. You can see my 1,700 square foot house behind me.
Don't brag about the size of your house, Derek.
I'm not bragging. I'm saying I'm not a tiny house person.
No.
All right? I love my wife. I love her to death. But sometimes it's nice to be able to have a little space. It's just like last night, this girl's like, what are we going to do? Like, there doesn't seem like there's much privacy in this. Well, no kidding.
No shit.
It's a 240 square foot house.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
You're not going to have privacy.
Bob, what were you going to say?
I saw one of them, one of the shows to where this couple planned out the house and all that stuff. And the people that were building it for them, they're like, oh, great design. We'll be able to do this. Whether it was edited this way or not, I don't know. But towards the end, they're like, well, we want to be able to, use our tiny house also as a storefront to sell T-shirts and this and this and that. And then they had to go back and go, okay, well, where are you going to store the merchandise? How can we do this? And of course, they figured it out. But it's like, dude, you're living in a little tiny house.
Yeah, that's one of the things, though, that is interesting. If you watch some of the good ones on Tiny House Hunters, they come up with some of the best, like just crazy awesome ways for storage, where you put beds, just really cool stuff. I mean, if I were not a man of size, I would definitely try it out. That's the other thing, though. We have 3 dogs, and a lot of times these people will have dogs, and I'm like, what are you doing to your dogs here? Especially, they'll say, so in tiny houses, usually your bed is in a loft, like where you get up there, you can barely even kneel to go to bed, right? That's usually how they put the houses. And the people will be like, well, how's my dog going to get up there? And I'm like, what do you mean, how's your dog going to get up there? It's a ladder. Unless you teach your dog to climb a ladder, your dog's not getting up there. Okay? Right. I'm sorry. Please. That killed everything.
A lot of these people have cats, though.
Ugh.
Yeah. Where would you put litter box?
You have to keep your litter box in the tiny house, man. It takes up like half the house with the litter box.
Oh, forget that. That would stink. Like, I love cats, but I don't have one because, I mean, I don't have a 1,700 square foot house. Mine's smaller than that. But I don't have, right now, I do love cats, but I don't have a proper place to put a litter box that would be away. So I won't get a cat because there's no good place to put a litter box. And in a tiny house, there's still going to be no place. We'll just put it under the kitchen table. Not a big deal. It's only us eating here, and it's our cat.
Ugh.
It's just
Plus, Bob, you have dogs, and dogs eat the turds out of the cat litter. You can't have a cat.
No, I'm not going to get a cat.
Why do you like cats? That's what we really need to be discussing.
I used to have cats.
Ugh.
So
I think there have been advances in cat litter, though, that really eat the odor up. I mean, there has to be.
Yeah.
Because, but look,
cats.
I'm not trying to brag about my house size. I was just contrasting it to the tiny house. It's like, I like space. I like to have a little space to move around. I like to like walk around the living room. I like to
Yeah,
walk from
on
place to
Jay's
place.
show, he's bragging about, oh, I've got 3 acres here.
Yeah.
I've got my cactus farm over here. Sorry, Derek, I don't have that. I'm not a nurse.
Listen, I'm not going to brag about the size of my house, but I will tell you this.
You have a river.
I think our house is too big because it's just Cheryl and I. We have 3 dogs, but I routinely tell Cheryl I could live in a much smaller house. As long as the bathroom is sufficient for me, as long as I've got room to manspread. And have you guys ever heard of manspreading, by the way? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't want to know.
No,
what
listen.
that is.
Manspreading this is a great
Hold on,
topic.
folks.
We could talk. No, this is good. We could talk about this. There is a thing that women get upset with men on public transportation in New York when they sit in a seat and they have their legs spread apart. It's called manspreading, and it's offensive to people because men take up more room than women, and they just expect men just expect women to take up a smaller amount of space, so men sit there with their legs open because they have penises. This is a real thing. I am not making this up.
Oh.
I'll have to look into that. And,
There
I don't
are
have an
people
opinion yet.
upset about men the way they sit because we sit with our legs open. We don't sit with our legs closed. So when I say I want to be able to manspread, that's what I'm talking about. When I'm in the bathroom taking a dump, I don't sit with my legs together. I sit with my legs wide open. I hunker in and I get business done.
When's the last time that you went into the bathroom, realized you forgot your phone, and wound up having to read like the soap bottle and all that?
All the time.
Listen.
Isn't that horrible?
No, listen. I would say 99% of the time, I do not forget my phone. And part of the reason is anybody that's married will know why this
Scott's
is.
in the bathroom now.
I'm going to explain right now why. Because usually my wife never has her phone with her. And I'm all like, why do you not have your phone with you? What world are you living in where you don't have your phone with you? So I'm always afraid that I'm going to leave it somewhere and she's going to be like, oh, where's your phone? So because I don't want to ever lose the argument, I always have it on my person. I have 2 phones right now. Just one phone number, though. So, yeah, I'm a weirdo.
So do you disinfect your phone after?
No, I don't, because I don't touch it with my poo hand. I don't touch it with the wipe hand, ever. When it gets to that time in the process, it goes in my pocket. I take care of business, wash my hands, then I get the phone back out.
I'd be interested, to see a study on that. So somebody go spend millions of dollars on it and see how much fecal matter is on people's phones. And then
it's
they're
probably going to be as much as what people's toothbrushes have on them, which is a lot. It's disgusting.
Great.
Because when you flush, you kick up those fecal particles. It's just how it is. So, hope everybody enjoys their poop toothbrush.
Or those farticles. Is that a great name for them?
Yeah.
Oh.
Splattercles.
Farticles. I'm going to copyright that.
Farticles. Copyright it. Bam. So, yes, we could do a whole show on toilet reading and all that kind of stuff.
I don't know.
Wait a minute. So, let's just take a poll right now between the 3 of us. We already know that Bob reads on the toilet. I read on the toilet. Derek, you read on the toilet? Yeah. It's a guy thing, dude.
Yeah.
None of our wives read on the toilet, do they?
No, because my theory, like with my wife, she's going to hate this, but with my wife, I call her a phantom crapper. Like, she's like, I got to go to the bathroom. And then next thing you know, she's right next to me. I'm like, weren't you going to go to the bathroom? Oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. How are you done?
Listen, chicks,
And I hear
hold
that's
it
a
in.
lot of women.
This is what they do. First of all, girls are way more uptight, so they don't fart as much as men. They hold it in longer. Poop is not a wonderful thing for women. Men think poop is funny and farting is funny. Well, some do. Women do not think that stuff's funny. They want to get it over as quickly as possible. And the same thing in my family. It's like, boom, I have to go to the bathroom. 1 minute later, back out. I'm like, what? A minute? Dude, I'm sometimes in there and I'll look at my phone after I've been in there for a while. I'm like, dude, I've been here for like a half hour. What am I doing? When your legs just start to go numb. I got Derek's like shutting it down. Go ahead.
No. I got the ultimate.
Okay, do it.
Women go really quickly story, and this was my first. This is my first exposure to that because women can use the bathroom super quick. I was in the Air Force. This was my first assignment. I was like 19, 20 years old. Stationed in Montana at Malmstrom Air Force Base. Now that is where we had 200 ICBMs, nuclear missile silos spread across an area the size of West Virginia. And I was a guy, I guarded it. I was a guard. And so we were out, me and one of my squadron mates, a young lady. We were partners that day. We were out posted up near a missile silo. And we had to be like within 5 miles of it, within 5 minutes of the silo. So we were kind of out still in the middle of nowhere. And when you're posted up there, you have to be there. You have to maintain a 5-minute response time. And you're there for hours. So you have to bring everything with you if you want to have anything to eat or drink or read or whatever. But usually you're just sitting there in the car on the radio talking. And then if you have to go, you just kind of have to go into the bushes. Well, we had to be like, we had to wear all this web gear, have a weapon, all this stuff. And for me, when I went to pee, it took forever, because I had to unhook everything, and you got BDUs and your military clothes. Well, she was like, "Hey, I gotta go." She popped out, and then I swear, 30 seconds later, she was already back, fully dressed. I was like, "What happened? Did you go?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "What are you, some sort of wizard? That was crazy. That was super fast." And she was like, "Yeah, just went."
How in the world did she get all her stuff off that quick?
I have no idea. I was amazed. And that was 16 years ago. And I'm still that was awesome. Yeah. I still remember to this day. I'm like, that is crazy. So, good job, Ann. You did. You
shout out to Ann. You know how to get a pee done, all right?
Take care.
Once again, you guys, we could talk bathroom stuff for hours.
Well, I did write down for the spreadsheet toilet talk.
Yeah.
We're gonna
call it potty talk.
Toilet talk sounds better.
I like potty talk.
Potty's like a little kid going on a fake toilet.
It's funny though. It's a funny word, potty. Take a potty break. Depending on what you're doing in the potty, you could change the name of the topic too.
Maybe the poop podcast for the day.
There you
I
go.
don't know. We'll talk about
what will Brown do for you.
Gosh. So we've hit a lot of topics today.
All that spawned from just talking about compost toilets in tiny houses. People aren't ready for that stuff. It's crazy. Yeah. It's not normal to think. That's like when you'd go to those campgrounds. Tell me if you guys remember this ever in your youth. When you go to those campgrounds that just have it's just like a hole that goes down into a pit.
Yep.
And you just take a dump in that thing and you're just piling your poop on top of other people's poop and pee.
Yeah, that's what a porta potty is. It's what a porta john is.
Oh, gosh. Ugh. Man. It's like my worst nightmare.
Sometimes I was scared I was going to fill it up. It's going to come back. How close am I getting? Wait, which one's mine?
Derek, we haven't talked to you enough to know if you are in this club also, but I think Bob and I both have, I probably do more than him, but we get upset tummies sometimes and have some bad waste management. I don't know if you have that problem. Urgent poos. Let's just call them urgent poos.
Well, I mean, sometimes. I think we all do.
I've been diagnosed with IBS, Derek, so...
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have not.
If he eats ice cream or drinks milk, he's screwed.
Well, yeah, that's my lactose issue.
I
elk stout, something like that with lactose.
Well, I should have been recording GeoGuessr last night, but instead I was drinking some beers and I had a little bit of whiskey with it, and it did not set well.
Yep.
So I didn't know. I wound up trying to go to bed this morning. I woke up 2 hours later, very upset stomach. I threw up in the bathtub and took some Pepto and went to bed.
Threw up in the bathtub? Was there chunks? Did you have to smash them down into the drain? He did. He had to smash his chunks into the drain.
I did. I was using the toilet, and I'm not going to put my face in there after my butt's been there.
Oh, no. So you dumped and then puked?
Yeah, I'm not going to puke into the...
You had to puke and dump, man. Dude.
Yeah.
That's bad.
So yeah, just... What is it? Beer than liquor, never been sicker.
Yep.
That's
there
true. That's true.
Ooh,
of course, I had like a Lagunitas brown sugar ale, and then I had like a Old Rasputin stout. So I had these high gravity beers, and then
he's just like, hey, might as well throw some scotch on top of that.
It was bourbon, but yeah, I mean, kept it American made. But yeah.
Hey, by the way, something to put on the old spreadsheet, Bob. There's these new. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this. This is beer and spirits technology. The Pico Brews. Have you ever heard of this? Pico Brew. There's a Pico C that's coming out. They did a Kickstarter. They've made a couple of different things. It's basically like a computer programmed system to brew your own beer. They have just made an attachment for the Pico C. It's a still to make your own spirits. Now, that's not legal, so the thing is, the way they advertise it is to make essential oils, because you can make essential oils in a still.
There you go.
It says if you have a license to do so, you can also make spirits. So that's the way they try and pretend that it's not for that.
We could make a show out of this, but I did do, back in 2011, I did make spirits my own. I had a still.
Were they good?
Because
I was going to say, if they were good, you'd still be doing it.
Well, no, I mean they were good. My final batch, I got a good liter of. It tasted like, regular bourbon.
Rubbing
it tastes
alcohol?
like cheap bourbon. No, it tasted like bourbon. I made some.
Let's touch on that next week for midweek man stuff. We'll talk because it's National Brew Day.
Man. Bob, shut us down, dude.
Yeah, I did save this. We'll talk in more detail about the Pico Brew. We'll talk about home brews that we've had. We'll talk about your distillery as well, Derek. Save that for next week. We'll do it like midweek man stuff. That's me.
Okay, sounds fun.
Right. Okay. As long as you have it on the spreadsheet, because I'll forget.
It's on there.
I'm old, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're like what, 52 or 3?
It's 57 this year.
Oh, well, there you go.
I mean, I look good for a 57-year-old, don't I?
Oh, minus the wrinkles, the gray hair, and everything else, yeah.
Scott, stop. Oh, I'm so old. Stop it.
That's Bob.
You're not getting no sympathy.
Yeah, Derek is the baby.
He's an ageist.
I think Derek is the baby of the group.
He is. Definitely.
I'm 36.
Yeah, I'm 37, so you are the baby.
You're the youngest. All right. Hey, thanks for listening. I don't know. We had an interesting week here on Hey We're Talking.
I hope it was entertaining to them because it's been entertaining to me. That's for sure.
I had a lot of fun.
Good. As long as you guys had a good time, that's all that matters.
I had fun. I don't know if the listeners did.
Well, yeah, just let us know.
Yeah, let us know,
Chime
guys.
in.
We do appreciate everybody who takes the time to listen to the podcast or watch the videos. It's very much appreciated. If you're on YouTube,
we have some great listeners, man. We do really, we really do. I'm not goofing around now because a lot of times I'm being like, I'm being serious. We have some really cool people that listen to the show, and they're very
loyal.
Good, yeah. They're loyal about listening. They're loyal about saying, "Hey, what you talked about, that was fun," or whatever. So
every week when we post our podcast, it also uploads to a link to it. Also uploads on our Facebook page. So if you guys looking for a place to make comments and stuff like that, just do it on our Facebook page. It's called Hey We're Talking, and just leave your comments under the episode, and just chime in on that. Or we've got the Voxer chat as well that is slowly starting to grow a little bit. So that's an option as well. So pretty cool.
It's just fun to be able to talk to you guys after we talk about this stuff. So if you want to talk to us, we're there. We have nothing else to do in our lives, so this is all we care about.
Well, I
True.
do get comments on Instagram because last week we were talking about vinyl, and I just happened to be in downtown Big Spring yesterday when I was getting my vehicle worked on, and I was walking by that read shop that
I know,
that we
I
had
saw.
talked about.
Picture,
So
yeah.
I took a picture, and a couple of people were like Chad Yarbrough was like, "I wonder if they have Boston in there." And that's exactly what we.
Exactly.
But yeah, the dude died in 2015. Jake
Sid.
Glickman was his name.
What was
Sid.
it?
And Jake Glickman was the name of the
Dude.
guy who owned the store.
That's a
And,
great name.
He there was like a little handwritten note that said, "Jake Glickman died such and such date, 2015. Contents of the store to be auctioned soon." So I don't know if that's happened or not.
So is the store actually closed then?
I think it's closed. It's
Wow.
locked up. It's padlocked. I mean, that's the way it looked like when it was. What's Scott doing?
He's telling us to
Freaking out.
wrap it up. But keep
Okay,
going.
yeah, but it looks exactly the same as it did when it was open.
So it's like a time capsule for music and whatever else,
Mm-hmm. And
love to
mold.
check it out.
possibly.
So yeah,
We should do
guys,
some Mission Impossible stuff and go get those records.
Bob, take us home
Where do you guys want to go?
to the end of
I'm
the
already
show.
home. I'm already
Thank-
home.
Yeah, we all are. Thank you guys for listening to the show. We appreciate it. We appreciate your support. Please share everything that we do. Share it on social media, all that stuff. Follow us on Twitter. I'm on there. Scott's on there. I'm Bob's Talking or Bob Talks. I don't even
No,
remember.
it's Bob's talking.
Bob's Talking. Scott is
Talking.
And Derek's over there on
Nothing.
YouTube as well.
Instagram.
Yeah, just we and we're all on Instagram too. So just follow us and like I said, please share the content. That way we can continue to grow the show and grow our listenership. And we'll keep trying to throw these entertaining things out there for you. I hope you guys enjoyed the week as much as we did. Yes, it was random, but now you guys kind of get an insight of who we are. I mean, because these are topics that we actually talk about and a lot of the silliness that actually occurs before the show too. So we appreciate it. You guys, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.